Hello and welcome to Talking Reds on the Anfield Raps YouTube channel. I'm Dan Austin, this is Josh Sexton. And you join us on a very wet and windy day in Liverpool.
Well, she's going to be absolutely
He's going to be made
that,
up. I'm sure the people in the comments are going to be made up as well. They're learning little bits about you every week as we go. Next week's going to be his national insurance number and his PIN code, so keep an eye out. But yeah, you join us on a terribly wet day in Liverpool. And it's a bit of a sad day as well, because for the first time since early December, Bournemouth, Liverpool on top of the Premier League anymore. I'm not used to this. I'm used to Liverpool being top of the Premier League, and I really don't like it when we're not. You
think people are losing their heads when we're just drawing with Leicester and then now we're not top of the league? I imagine that's going to intensify. But no, it's early days, isn't it? I think you can look at it and think that there's loads of sort of doom and gloom about Liverpool at the moment. But the reality of it is that we're behind on goal difference now.
Behind, we've still got a game in hand.
Yeah, and still got a game in hand. So it's still in our hands if you want to do it in that sense. But at the end of the day, it's early February, and I think when you think back to 13, 14, the sort of games, the way that we're approaching them now as supporters, that's what was happening in like April or May of that year, and it's February now, and we're already at this sort of point where we're going, oh well, maybe it is City's to lose and things like that, but it's not that.
Imagine you were offered in August that at the beginning of February you'd be joint top of the league, in effect behind on goal difference with a game in hand on Man City, and Man City have been losing games left, right and centre to really shit footy teams. You'd be made up, wouldn't you?
I'd absolutely snapped your hand off, yeah.
So, I mean, the difficulty is that you think back to just before we played City, and we were talking about maybe going 10 clear. And at one point we were 10 clear, weren't we? But they had a game in hand, and now you're behind them again. And it just feels like there's been a really big shift quite quickly, even though we've been playing really well. And the results haven't been especially bad. We've had 2 draws, which ostensibly in a normal season are draws that aren't that bad. Like, they're 2 of the best of the rest footy teams in the league. But every little manoeuvre now, every time that someone gains an advantage on the other side, feels really big, doesn't it?
I think it's the coverage of it as well, to be honest. I think like the fact that Sky have been calling this like the title race and approaching all these games, and every game's on telly now since probably like, feels like November almost, since they've been doing that. It sort of adds the pressure to it. But I wrote a piece yesterday about our squad at the moment and how things probably aren't going our way, and I said in it that I don't think we've played well since the City game, since we lost. You know, we've managed to get 2 wins, and there was at Palace and Brighton.
Palace and Brighton, but they didn't play well, no.
Didn't play particularly well, and then these last 2 games against Leicester, and I forgot the other one now as well. Who else
West Ham.
West Ham.
You were there, mate.
I was there.
We'd had a lot of gin.
I'll
let him off with that. We had a lot of gin.
We got home at 4 o'clock in the morning from West Ham, and I had a quarter of a bottle of wine left, and just thought, there's absolutely no way I'm drinking this ever in my life. I don't want to see another drink.
We were quite over-optimistic, weren't we? I'd had 6 cans of gin on the way down, and then a load of pints. And before we left London, before we left Stratford, we went to an offie. And me and Sean Walsh bought another 12 cans of gin for the way back. I think we drank one of them because we were just absolutely goosed. Really optimistic gin chat.
I'd managed to, cause I think there was only enough gins for you and Sean, so I think I'd managed to persuade Craig to get a bottle of wine, and he buys a bottle of white wine in the shop, and he took the first swig and just went, ugh, and then just fell asleep on his seat in the car.
You should have seen the fella in Sainsbury's, you know, we should be planted one by one, these 12 gins on the counter, and he looks at me and Sean like, "You's all right, you." It's like Monday night, 1 in the morning or something. You really felt bad for us.
Functioning alcoholics. I think if you think the Anfield Rap's professional, or then the image of me being sat on my laptop on my lap, subbing Gareth Roberts' Monday column with a can of gin in my hands, will convince you otherwise completely.
Again, we went to the B&M in Edge Lane to pick up the gins on the way there. And like just some proper Scouse nan was behind the counter. She was swiping all the gins through. And again, she looked at us at the end, me, him and Craig buying them. All we had, by the way, was gin and chapstick for John. looked like we had a really weird day out. And she just went, "What are you lads up to there then?" We had to explain to her like, "Oh, we're you know, driving the footy and that, this is what you do when you go to footy."
Aggressive binge drinking and aggressive necking.
Yeah. What were we talking about? Footy.
Liverpool on top of the league anymore, but it's going to be all right.
But not as good as what you were. That's been talking Reds now anyway. Everton, some people tuned into that match last night. Which I think is fucking madness. I would not put myself through that, because there was absolutely no way. There was absolutely no way I was watching that. Because I mean, by all accounts, it sounds like they put up a fight. They didn't roll over in the way that was probably expected, but it was never going to end well. Only pain was coming from watching that footy match, in my opinion. I don't know what people were expecting.
I'm one of them dickheads, to be honest, and I sort of had it on in the background while I was doing like other shit jobs around my flat, and by the sounds of it and by what I saw, Everton did actually play quite well and gave you a bit of hope. But then their sort of same old shitness flared up, and City got a goal just before half time, which I think just took the wind out of Everton's sails. And then the last one almost felt like it was coming, to be honest, because Everton were just going completely gung-ho. And then Pickford gets chipped by a header, and then Gabriel Jesus knocks it in. So.
I mean, we can't really complain about Jordan Pickford fucking up, can we? He's been very much the spark to our season at this stage, so I think we'll let him off with another one.
This is the thing. I think that Everton, like, they're almost like tampered minds now, aren't they? Because of that Liverpool game. So
their record since then is absolutely fascinating to look at. Like, it really has had. I mean, every time they come to Anfield, it feels like a massive psychological blow to them. But this might be the worst ever. They've not recovered from that in any way since then.
There's a few like Anfield Rap contributors that I've seen say it since. Like, I feel like we've ruined another set of Everton players and an Everton manager.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, like,
absolutely. Imagine being Tom Davies. You can't be asked ever playing Liverpool again.
Pickford came out after the Everton Liverpool game, and he was saying like, oh, it's just Everton's luck at Anfield, and that. Like, if I was a Liverpool fan and like Alisson had just come out and say that, I'd be like, lad, what are you doing?
He's been there 5 minutes and he's accepted it.
Yeah, exactly.
He knows his entire career and I was full of that.
Accepted your fate already.
Yeah. Really, really bad. That's a positive anyway, even if we're not top of the league anymore.
We've ruined Everton.
well, speaking of having ruined them, it seems like a lot of them went into that ground last night really not wanting the footy team to win. And one man in particular didn't even go into the ground. You haven't seen this apparently, so I'm going to tell you about it now. I'm sure lots of people at home will have seen it. But basically the Echo went round and spoke to some Everton supporters outside the ground about, you know, how they felt about the match, whether they really wanted Everton to win, that kind of thing. And he spoke to a few, and most of them were saying, yeah, they still wanted Everton to win, because as much as they hate Liverpool, they prefer Everton. Still ages to go in the title race. It's not their job to help City win it, which is fair enough. I think that's the right answer. One very, very special fella, though, did not share the same opinion. He was just saying he hated Liverpool more than anyone, you know, on the planet, more than he loved Everton. And he only went to the ground to pass his season ticket to someone else. He weren't going in. And then he lists his reasons why he hates Liverpool and why he really, really doesn't want Liverpool to win. And he's just saying about, you know, back in the 80s when, like, they used to wind him up and people in school were always arguing, and he just hates, like, the look that we get and that. And then he just drops in right at the end, right before the clip cuts off. He goes, oh, and yeah, and back in the 80s, they even got our dog and spray painted LFC on it.
I must admit it, because I'm pretty sure Joe was just off camera showing me this yesterday. I remember him saying, like, he's like, this guy presenter sort of like is baffled, and he's like, lad, you've not met cop heights.
But it just ends there. So he spray painted our dog, and then he looks at the camera and it cuts off and it goes to another clip. It's absolutely incredible.
That should be one of them freeze frames where, like, it's on his face and he's like that, and it's like, hello darkness, my old friend.
It's superb. The one where the dog is looking at the cake and it goes like the Vietnam War clips. Yeah, exactly like that. Imagine that though. Like, I get the hatred now. Like, imagine like you're in the away end at Anfield and you go through all them losses. You go through Origi, you go through Carroll at Wembley, you go through every Everton defeat that's ever happened, and your fucking little dog was getting spray painted 30 years ago.
Do you know, in the Wolves game, that cat run on the pitch, I love the dog just got him on the pitch last night with like a bit of a whimper with like LFC like sort of lies down in the box, like looking around at Pickford like, lad, help me.
What I want to know,
just spray painting my back.
What I really want to know is what breed of dog it was, because you can't fit LFC on a small dog. It weren't a dachshund. It weren't a sausage dog.
I imagine it to be a sheepdog for some reason as soon as you said it in my head.
I've got a picture
like
of
quite an Evertonian dog.
A big fucking massive slobbering St. Bernard with LFC.
Proper lazy one who couldn't get away.
Just chilling on the doorstep with LFC and a little crap liver birds done in spray paint on the side of it. Anyway, that's Everton and dogs getting spray painted. We'll talk
I'm really looking forward to the title of this, by the way. Sam's going to ask me to come up with something that's going to be like Everton and dogs. St. Bernard's getting spray painted.
I mean, it gets to the point. It's what the people want. We'll talk about the European Cup very briefly, because that's still a laugh and that's still a thing that Liverpool might win as well. Bayern Munich played Leverkusen at the weekend and lost 3-1. Manuel Neuer was meant to play in the game, trained all week and everything, and then didn't play because apparently he's still in a lot of pain from an injury that's kept him out for quite a while. So it seems like he might not play, certainly in the Anfield game, the first leg, along with Thomas Muller being banned as well. The form that they've been in under Kovac hasn't been great. I'm getting really, really confident about this, and it worries me.
I'm a little bit, to be honest. I think when you see Bayern Munich come out the hat, you think they're like, oh, this big team, and they've won all these trophies, but they're not really that. And well, they are, and that's probably part of the problem, is that they're a very old team now. And even if Manuel Neuer was to play, to be honest, he doesn't worry me that much. He's always been one of them keepers for me. That there was a time when he was the best in the world, but his style has always caused mistakes. And I feel like the older he gets and the more injuries he gets, the more that's going to become apparent. I sort of look at like Petr Cech at Arsenal, the way they've been trying to make him play out from the back, and like it's just absolutely not happening for him. And I know he's like his head's a bit cabbaged and quite literally, but yeah, like to be honest, Bayern and Neuer just don't worry me. Like if he plays or not, I think we'll be sound, but I imagine it's a slight advantage if he doesn't.
Another thing on the European Cup as well is apparently UEFA have had a meeting this week, and it won't be ratified yet, but they're talking about it, is getting rid of the away goals rule in European competition. You know that meeting that they have sort of every year with the top tier coaches from across Europe? Apparently the last one, pretty much all of them stated the opinion that they thought the rule was outdated and that it should be changed and everything. And UEFA are looking very seriously at it now, and it's probably, maybe not in time for next season, but the one after, going to be taken away. I reckon it's probably a positive. It seems to me to be a bit behind the times. What do you reckon?
I think it's a positive, yeah. Like, I'm not sure if like I sort of understand the outdated thing. I think that's just like if a rule was introduced ages ago, then like it seems like it's outdated now. But I don't think it was ever really in date, was it? It's always been a bit of a bizarre one. Although to be fair, if we'd have conceded one more at the Stadio Olimpico last year, I'd have probably been pioneering for it, to be honest. But no, like it's just one of them, isn't it? I think UEFA are always looking for ways that they can like, innovate the Champions League and the Europa League and try and make them more like sellable competitions, and I think this is just another one of them. It's something that will obviously affect games that Liverpool play in, but it's just sort of meh, I reckon.
Sound. Well, that's it for Talking Reds today. If Liverpool do win the league, or if we're even close towards the end of the season, I wish the very best of luck to the RSPCA and the Dogs Trust for the amount of dogs across Merseyside that will now be spray painted with LFC on them. But thanks very much from Josh. Thank you from me. Have a lovely day, everyone. All the best.